We alluded in the beginning, when we was at Genesis 49, about the tribes of Israel, the sons of Jacob, being utilized in the last days. And we talked about the fact of the matter that when you go in the Old Testament, the so-called Jewish people, the so-called people that are in Israel, they are not the people. They're just not. We did a lesson on that called Religion versus Bloodline. Go check that out. If you hadn't had an opportunity to check that out, it's called Religion versus Bloodline. So they're trying to tell the people that tribes are done away, that they don't know who particular tribe they are. Some of them claim to be parts of Levi, which is ridiculous. But that's what they say. If you want to know who the descendants of the Levites are, they are the Haitian people, so-called Haitian people, so-called people that are part of that lives in the areas of southern Louisiana, down New Orleans and down by the waters. Anybody from that are speaking French that are in the country of Benin back in West Africa, those are Levite brothers. So they talk about that, the tribes are done away with, and they ain't got nothing to do with the Most High. So the New Testament, the Gentile preachers are always focusing on talking about the church. And what they like to do is they like to take verses and that speak to Israel and like to take out Israel and put the church. And we're going to show you in this precept and the last two precepts that the Most High and Christ was never talking to a church when he was giving these specific orders. He was talking about the people of Israel. You have to understand that when you go over into Hebrews, the 10th chapter, when Paul talks about the covenant that was made, you got the precept that covenant to Jeremiah 31. That covenant was made, the new covenant that we talk about, that we under now, was made with Judah and Israel. Christ being the king of them all. That's why it's made with them. He didn't make it with the church. He didn't make it with people. He made it with Judah and Israel through Christ. And so what the church like to do now is they like to come in and they take up verses that are talking about Israel and try to include themselves into it. So everything that's talking about in the last days, they like to say, yeah, the church. But you're going to see here that one very vital thing that's going to take place in the last days is not going to be, he's not saying the church is going to do it. He said we, as the children of Israel, will be doing it. Revelation 7th chapter, start there at verse 1.
And after these things I saw 4 angels standing on the 4 corners of the earth, holding the 4 winds of the earth, that the wind should not blow on the earth, nor the sea, nor any tree.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw another angel ascending from the east, having the seal of the living God. And he cried with a loud voice to the 4 angels to whom it was given to hurt the seas, the earth and the sea.
Okay. Now, so we know anybody who has ever did any reading in Revelations, we understand that the Most High has said that in the last days he's going to destroy the world. Christ is going to come back. He's going to set up his kingdom here. He's going to bring down a new Jerusalem. It's going to reign there for 1,000 years. So Satan is going to be loosed again. He's going to be forever destroyed. He's going to be turned to the lake of fire. And we're going to go back into what it says in Revelation 21 for that great wedding where we become one and we will dwell with the Most High forever. Now, so he has placed different angels. He has the 7 seals, the 7 vials, and the 7 trumpets that have to be blown. And all those different things have to be taking place before Christ comes back. And in those processes of those things being done, Most High is going to destroy this world because of Satan and what he has done in turning to evil, as he did back in Genesis 6 when he did the flood. So, there was something that needed to be done prior to these angels destroying the world. Now we're going to go here to verse 3.
Saying, hurt not the earth, neither the sea, nor the trees, till we have sealed the servants of our God in their foreheads.
Mm-hmm. And who are those servants?
And I heard the number of them which were sealed, and they were sealed 144,000 of all the tribes of the children of
the
Israel.
church.
Of all the tribes of the children of Israel.
From the Baptists.
Children of Israel.
From the Kojic.
The children of Israel.
And it got to be from the holiness.
From the children of Israel.
From the Catholic Church.
From the tribes of the children of Israel.
From the tribes of the children of Israel. So the Most High is telling us here in Revelation, the 7th chapter, that he's going to seal 144,000 from the tribes of Israel. Then how in the world do they not exist anymore? Just ask yourself that question. When you sit here and watch these blasphemous movies called Left Behind and read these books, these Left Behind books, you notice that it's always, mostly because you probably haven't dived in this book, it says nothing about these tribes being in the last days. And then the Jehovah's Witnesses folks try to say that the 144,000 is going to only people go to heaven, and then we're going to be here on earth. It's just ridiculous. It's blasphemous. And because we have been taught by our slave masters to follow these things, now we're sitting here and quoting these things, and you have a conversation with the church folks and Christians, and be like, yo, tell me, what the last days. And they'll tell you stuff, and I'll be like, yo, what verse that says that at? And they can't never tell you. Because their stuff is going on hearsay versus what he say. Okay? So your faith can't be built on some hearsay. It has to be based on what he said. And what did he say again in verse 4?
And I heard the number of them that were sealed, and there were sealed 144,000 of all the tribes of the children of Israel.
Are the tribes of children of Israel. So don't nobody know who the tribes is. Don't nobody know who the children of Israel are. Then where are these people going to come from? See, the devil has sent these people out to blind us and to give us lies so that we won't know what to do, so we won't be in place to do the work of the Most High. And that's why today's lesson is entitled, The Lord Have Need of You. You can't be sitting around here going through the motions of church and not walking in your true identity, because you may be one of these 144,000. Your children may be one of these 144,000. So we sitting around here riding around in the car, got our sons, them can quote future, and they don't even know anything Christ said. And some of the people that got a calling on their life never going to be able to walk in the calling because of the simple fact of the matter that their parents are not raising them upon the true identity of who they are. Every time I see a little kid with a Black Lives Matter shirt on, I just cringe. And I know the parents got good mind, they got good intentions in mind. But if you get in this truth and understand that the Most High has been told you that you've been matter for a long time, that Deuteronomy 7:6 says that I have called you to be a special people above all people, you will already know that you matter. And you won't have to go convince no government, no police, no senators, no representative, no Supreme Court, nobody that you matter when you know that you matter in the Most High. I'm not going to go downtown and stand up there with a sign trying to get a Satanist to accept me. Fuck that dude, man. You think I care about what a Satanist think? Man, I already know where he's going. And what he's trying to do is he's trying to get me to go there with him. And I ain't going. He's trying to grab me up so I can get outside of my purpose and go down there with a gun. Nah. Ain't doing it, buddy. Those games are done. Our people is waking up to the truth, and we ain't fighting that battle no more. We know that the battles of the Most High's. And that's why he sent us here today, to let you know that the Lord have need of you. Now go down to verse 9. Now hold up for a second. And if you go through, we're not going to read all of this, but if you go through verses 5 through 8, you will see each one of the tribes listed there. And at any point, did any of these people come from the church? No. Did you see spiritual Jews in there?
No.
Did you see Jewish people?
Nope.
No. You gotta stop having your faith based on what somebody told you. If they ain't telling you what's in here, you can't put your faith on it. And black Christians are the greatest defenders of the Jewish people that I've ever seen. And they didn't want to put us in slavery. They didn't want to own the slave ship, the slave markets. They didn't want to pump this rap music into our community. They didn't want to pump this pornography into our communities all over the internet. But a black Christian to sit back, look, man, you gotta pray for. No, you need to pray for yourself, brother. You need to be defense of yourself, sister. Because these things in the Bible talk about you. Look at verse 9.
After this I beheld, and lo, a great multitude which no man could number,
Mm-hmm.
of all nations and kindreds and people and tongues stood before the throne and before the Lamb, clothed with white robes and songs in their hands.
So what he's saying right here is, as a result of the 12 of the 12 tribes, of the 144,000 that came out of the 12 tribes, them being servants of the God, doing what they were called to do, this is what led to verse 9. So if you're not walking in your calling, you're not walking in your purpose, you're keeping somebody out of this list. The Lord have need of you, black woman. The Lord have need of you, African American man. Verse 10.
And cried with a loud voice, saying, Salvation to our God, which sitteth upon the throne, and to the Lamb.
And all of those nations, to read that part in verse 9 again, it says what? All from what?
Of all nations and kindreds and people and tongues stood before the throne.
This is Israel and Gentiles. So you're not only supposed to be a light to your people, but you got to be a light to the Gentiles as well. You got to get off of what they done to us. You got to get off of what they done said about us. And you got to be a light to them as well. Today's lesson is entitled, The Lord have need of you. Let's go to Matthew 5. Matthew the 5th chapter. We look at verses 13 through 16. The Lord have need of you, black man. The Lord have need of you, African American woman. Matthew 5. We're going to look at verses 13 through 16. Matter of fact, start back at verse 11.
Blessed are ye when men shall revile you and persecute you, and shall say all manner of evil against you falsely for my sake.
Yeah, this is what's going to happen. As soon as you go back to some of your church folks, and you're going to say, nah, man, I ain't with this Baptist stuff no more. I'm not with this Amazon stuff no more. No, I'm not with this culture thing. More importantly, I'm not black. I'm not African American. They're going to laugh at you. I heard a testimony of a preacher who had been pastoring a church, I think, for like 10 plus years. The church had grown, doing all good works in the community. He went to the church on one Sunday, and he preached a sermon that they called it, I don't know, can't remember the name of the sermon, but he preached one sermon talking about that we need to follow the law, statutes, and commandments of the Most High. The next Sunday he came back, he couldn't even get in the church. They voted him out as pastor. The one message. Served it for years. But as soon as he went in this Bible and found out, like, yo, Most High said, look, yeah, we need to be following these laws. When he went over to 1 John, the 2nd chapter, and told him, said, that the sin is transgression of the law. When he went to 1 John 3, when he told him, said, man, he who not keeping God's laws is a liar and the truth ain't in him. He preached those things, and they voted him out the next week. They've been serving him for years. So read that verse for him again, verse 11.
Blessed are ye when men shall revile you and persecute you and say all manner of evil against you falsely for my sake.
You know how much attack that we receive from our family all the time? You know how much jokes that are given at our expense? You know how many people now that don't even respond to my messages anymore? I hate people, hey, what's going on? What's poppin', man? Ain't heard from you in a while. They don't even respond. People that I've been doing events with for years, I don't even hear from them no more. People see me now and they go the other way. I heard we was Muslims too. I heard that too. They said it was Muslims. We speak against pork too. Yeah, they were trying to be Muslims. Yeah, it's crazy. I haven't ate pork since I was 16 years old. I started out because of what I saw on Malcolm X. But then I actually seen it in the Bible. I said, yeah, okay, I'm going to stick with it. So it's going to happen. Just face it. You got to get to an understanding that when you stand for the truth, there's going to be a few people that's going to be rocking with you. It's just the way it goes. Verse 12.
Rejoice and be exceedingly glad, for great is your reward in heaven. For so persecuted they the prophets which were before you.
They did it all to the prophets that were before us. They did it to Christ. Okay? They did it to all the great patriarchs, even in this country, that's been preaching the truth. You truly believe that what happened in Charleston, South Carolina was an act of racism? Don't believe the hype. That preacher down there, they said he was going to be the next Martin Luther King. That's what people would call him. That was a government assassination. Don't buy that hype of this was just a terrorist attack from some guy 19 years old with a South African flag. Don't buy that, man. Don't listen to that. That was a governmental assassination. Because this guy was coming at the necks of the people that were doing wrong. And they had a great heritage down there in Charleston, South Carolina, where people being raised up. Israelites and Gentiles. And they had to get that before it got too big. Kill two birds with one stone. Get the black and white people still mad at each other. Come in talking about a Confederate flag. Listen, let me tell you something. All you people talking about this Confederate flag, I know people are going to get upset with this. I'm just going to say what it is. When they bombed Tulsa, Oklahoma, Black Wall Street, them planes didn't have no Confederate flag on them. They had American flags on them. The CIA that put crack in our communities, he didn't have a Confederate flag emblem on his suit. He had an American one. He worked for the American government. He didn't work for the Confederate States of America. Those cops that are shooting us down in the streets, they work for the United States government. They don't work for the Confederacy. Those people that's killing our people over there in Africa, they sent over there by the American government. You talking about a Confederate flag. Confederate flag ain't did nothing to me. Everybody that's did something to me got an American flag on it. And I know that's going to ruffle some of your feathers, but it's the truth of the matter. Those white folks down there in the South, that are holding on to this heritage, let them have their flag, man. How many people that done harm you, that done lynch you, that done been discriminating you, had a Confederate flag on them? When you go to the job and try to get a job, how many of them got a Confederate flag on them? When you go out here and try to do the works in the community, how many people that done persecuted you had a Confederate flag on them? They got the distractions of the wrong people, man. You need to look at the one who really after you, who really try to take you out. I guarantee the person who created the thing, AIDS, he didn't have an American flag outside of his lab. Verse 13.
Ye are the salt of the earth, but if the salt have lost his savor, wherewith shall it be salted? It is thenceforth good for nothing, but to be cast out and be trodden under the foot of men.
Verse 14.
Ye are the light of the world. A city that is set on a hill cannot be hid.
Now, once again, I'm going to say this. When these verses was written, this is the Sermon on the Mount. There were no Gentiles there. There were no such things as a church there. These were the Israelites that Christ was talking to when he said, you are the salt of the world. You are the light of the world. He's talking to us. Okay? You need to understand that. And these preachers are taking these scriptures that are talking to Israelites and talking about Israel, talking about our people, and they're trying to implement it and put church in it. Church here. They're going to 2 Chronicles 7:14. If my people are called, no. These are talking to us. We got to get out of this. I know how we were taught, but we got to get out of the mindset of what we've been talking. We got to step outside of that and look at the reality of the situation of what this was talking about and in what context it was talking about and who they were talking to when they said it. That's just like me going to a family in China and telling them based on what their heritage is and their lineages that's been passed down for centuries, going in and telling them, no, that was speaking to my family. They look at me like I'm crazy. But yet the church and the Gentiles do that every Sunday when they preach these scriptures. They try to put themselves into places, themselves into verses that have nothing to do with them. When he said, and you ought to read that verse 12, 13 again, verse 14 again.
You are the light of the world. A city that is set on a hill cannot be hid.
There were no Gentiles nowhere to be found. They were not in attendance when that sermon was being preached. Israelites. It was us. He told us to be the salt. He told us to be the light. Verse 15.
Neither do men light a candle and put it under a bushel, but on a candlestick, and it giveth light unto all that are in the house.
That means you ain't supposed to sit here on this truth that you know who you is and sit here in your own house and only talk to your own people, only talk to your own family, only talk to your own friends, and then when you go out publicly, you don't want to say anything about it. And I'm talking to you preachers right now. Because, listen, I'm not about here about exposing anybody. But there's a lot of you that come to me behind closed doors. I done had a lot of the Nicodemus experiences. When Nicodemus in John the 3rd chapter, how he came to Christ at night, I have a lot of those situations. And I would never call these people out for that because I understand why they're doing it. But I have a lot of preachers, a lot of pastors come to me behind closed doors when ain't nobody looking, inboxing me and talking to me and be like, listen, man, what you're saying is truth, man. This and that. And I always say, yeah, brother, but it's time for you to do this thing too. You got to tell your congregation. They ain't trying. I understand that. What I want to tell to all my preachers, all my pastors, all my ministers, if people are not wanting to hear what you have to say, then you need to shake the dust from your feet and you need to go to somewhere where they need to hear it. Maybe the ministry's in you. That's what we had to do. And the same thing is going to be to you. That's why you need to go back and look at the lesson that we did last week called Seeing Your Victory. Seeing the victory in your loss. So you can't take the truth and hide it. You don't want to share it with people because you're so worried about somebody ridiculing you, clowning you, or not want to deal with you anymore. If Christ, what if Christ would have did that? Think about Paul. Paul was would call himself the Hebrews of the Hebrews, Pharisees. But on that road to Damascus, he got woke up. And was Paul supposed to go back to Tarsus and just sit down on the truth? No. The last person they wanted to hear the gospel from was Paul. But he preached it, didn't he? It was author of the 13 books in his New Testament, wasn't it? And so you need to let your light shine too. The Lord have need of you. Verse 16.
Let your light so shine before men that they may see your good works and glorify your Father which is in heaven. The
glory belongs to him. The good works that you're doing, the things that he called you to do, those are going to glorify your Father which is in heaven. So when you walk away from these things of the world, when you walk away from these things of society, when you walk away from these pagan things and no longer be a part of this, they're going to see your good works and they're going to glorify your Father which is in heaven. And this is what they're going to be able to say. Yo, those are true men and women of the Most High God. Because signs and wonders are going to follow those who believe. We talked about that in Zechariah the 12th chapter. But you're not going to be able to do the signs and wonders unless you're lined up with the purpose and the destiny for your life. Today's lesson is entitled, The Lord Have Need of You. What we at a time? Was that 1:30?
139.
Okay, 1:39. We're going to give you one last precept and we're going to be done for today. I want to give you some encouragement for what this is about. Go to Jeremiah 31. Because, I understand. Listen. I understand the difficultness of walking away from everything you know. I'm fully aware of that. I understand what some of you have at stake. Listen, man, I lost my girl. I lost my church. I lost many friends. I lost a lot accepting this truth and living it. You understand? I lost a lot, man. But I did that because, number one, that's what the Most High said. But number two, so that I could be used to come and get you. It ain't about me, man. It's not about us, man. This thing is so much bigger than us, bro. So much bigger than us, man. This ain't about us. It's about that young generation that's coming up, that's gonna walk in their whole life not knowing, not believing that there was a color, that they're black or African American, but they're gonna walk their whole entire lives knowing that they're from the tribe of Judah, from the nation of Israel, that they're the Most High beloved, that the Most High calls him the apple of their eye, of his eye, and they're not gonna be raised up and walking around in the country trying